I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. Hello and welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James, and I am so honored that I get to come to you and bring you women that are making a difference on this planet. They have stepped into their passion, they have stepped into their power, and they are coming here to remind us all that they're just examples, they're not exceptions. And so I'm grateful that I get the honor to bring them to you. We come every week. We're on iTunes and Spotify and iHeart and Amazon and YouTube. Please subscribe, come back every week and meet more amazing women. Today, my guests, I actually have two. Dr. Elizabeth Rainwater and Dr. LaTanya Rainwater are two Atlanta-based entrepreneurs, preachers, and educators. They have a background in psychology and spent years mentoring students in graduate school. They also have a background in ministry that stems from childhood to family roots. Their passion for education is a big part of their journey, which turned into teaching ESL, English as a second language, to students in China, online for an education center in Florida. And while teaching, it was clear that every student had different learning styles and that the curriculum needed to fit educational needs was different for all of them. So it's not about intuition. It was that they had what they call a tug of heart, which led them to both educate and become doctors to design their own educational and inspirational products as ELRSHOP. We're going to talk about that, right? And the name ELRSHOP, is that how you pronounce it? ELRSHOP.
ELRSHOP.
ELRSHOP, yay, stems from the first initials of Dr. Elizabeth and Dr. LaTanya. Well, I'm grateful because I love that your products include coloring books, crossword puzzles, math, and grammar books. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So I'm going to start with you, Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about, why you wanted to teach English as a second language first.
Well, it was, when both my sister and I finished our doctorate degree, we went looking for teaching jobs. And even though we had a doctorate degree, it was not easy to get the teaching jobs that we were looking for. And so it actually took 5 years to actually get in this position as an ESL teacher because we didn't, number one, know that it existed. And then we couldn't get the jobs like college teaching jobs and things like that. Mm-hmm. So my sister went researching and she found this company and just applied. And it took months, but then they reached out to both of us. And we looked at it like, this is a blessing because we're helping kids that are all the way over there in a different country. And we actually felt like it was more effective than what we could actually have originally done. So we were giving them the education that we already knew and helping build them and give them confidence. And so it was really a blessing. We felt like God had just held on to us until he found the right thing exactly for us to get into that actually built our confidence and showed us that we had talent that we didn't even know existed.
Well, that is so wonderful. Grace in action, actually. So, LaTanya, how'd y'all grow up? Where'd you grow up?
So both Elizabeth and I, we grew up in different parts of the world. My dad was military, so he served over 20 plus years in the military. Mm-hmm. And so what that meant is it never was really one place we actually stayed. Mm-hmm. I think when we got a little bit older, the only two or three places that we stayed would have to be Arizona, mm-hmm. Germany, and Minnesota before he retired. Mm-hmm. And we was about the Arizona one, I think I was about 9 years old. So that would make Elizabeth, so let's see, 9, 8, 7, maybe 6 or 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And that's about as far as long as we stayed in those places, 7 or 13 years. Otherwise than that, where we stayed, it was really, really short. So I can't really say there was just one place.
Well, but isn't that interesting? First of all, I'm from Minnesota. That's my hometown. So Minneapolis is. But I want to say it's almost like the universe was preparing you to be worldwide in your ministry just by the way you were brought up. Did you have to learn to adjust to meeting new people all the time and being in new communities?
Not really, because you know, me and my sister, we love people and interacting with folks. We're timid by nature, but when we know you, we talk a lot then. And so we just loved going traveling. If there was a plane or our dad said, okay, I'm gonna take you somewhere, then we loved it to just be on the go and travel and meet new people. And it allowed us to see different people. When we got to Minnesota, we never met anybody that was from Somalia. So that was new for us to see Somalian people. You know, we grew up predominantly around the Mexican culture. So that was us when we was little. Then the German culture. So we was around a lot of different cultures and the different environments. So we learned to adapt and get along with each culture that we dealt with, and I think that helped us in a lot of ways in accepting people and adapting to that culture, and they're getting used to us because it played a major role in us teaching, and it also played a major role in ministry itself.
Yeah. So Elizabeth, you both have doctorates. And just judging from what you say, did you go to school at the same time?
Yes.
Really? And where did you go? And were you studying the same things?
Well, whenever we first started out going to school, when we went like for our undergraduate degrees, my sister went for actually law and I went on the business side. And as time went on, then we went and in the same area, we went in psychology. And I was actually going to go in a different area of psychology. My sister was going in the marriage and family area, and I wanted to go in like forensics area. And then it kind of changed where I was like, you know what, this sounds more interesting. So I went over there. And then as we went on in education, we stayed kind of in sync together. And so by the time we got to the doctorate degree, we went into teaching and in general psychology, general teaching with the emphasis in psychology.
Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, so Latanya, so here you are teaching English as a second language in China. And first of all, I want to know, how was it being in that culture? But then I want to talk about your revelations there, because it led you down a path to where you are today.
So in being in that culture, it was definitely a new experience because you have the different laws, policy, then you have the organization itself. So you have all these different people. You have China, the country, and their instructions, and then you have the American instructions. So basically, I had to adapt to both, meet them in the middle in order to get the job done. Because it wasn't just, okay, the American side, okay, this is your job here and do this here. And oh, no, there's some rules over here in this country. There were so many different cultural shocking areas that you had to get used to that environment. Certain way how you talked, how you taught the student. You know, it was just all new. And their holidays, incorporating that in the classroom, respecting that, not incorporating too much of what your culture is or the American culture too much. You know, because there was a little issues with that because they didn't really celebrate that. Some of them didn't, and some of them did. There's different things that took place that for America would probably be considered abuse, maybe, or sexual abuse. And so there's a lot of different things that took place that was acceptable in that country but wasn't acceptable in America. So
Ooh,
trying to understand that.
Yeah, so Elizabeth, okay, here you are, two Black women in China trying to maneuver this. How were you able to just stand in your own identity and still honor the rules that were there placed from both sides?
Well, one thing that I realized in teaching some of the students is that whenever I came on the screen for online teaching classes, that some of the kids would just sit there and they would stare. And I was just wondering, I was like, why is this kid and their family staring? We only got like 30 minutes to teach. And the kid would be one child one day that said, Mom, the teacher's Black. The teacher is Black. Where's my American teacher? And I was like, I had to explain because, you know, some teachers and will probably get upset. But, you know, I've heard it a long time ago. And so I was like, you know, I'm American. You know, I just don't look like everybody else, but I'm an American teacher. I'm able to teach you. And, you know, if you want to be taught, I will teach you and I'll go beyond what you're learning here. So, you know, it's kind of your choice. And, you know, I look across there and some of the parents would tell me what they're expecting to learn. And half of the time it's out of the way of the curriculum of what they want you in the United States to give them. So if you go beyond what the United States says because you're trying to please the other country, you can get in trouble on that end as well. So I faced some of that backlash where I go beyond it and say, okay, well, this kid doesn't understand this. Let me twist it this way. And then I get that phone call saying, you're not supposed to do this. Don't go over the time and all kind of things. But the parents, a lot of the parents appreciated it. But for the most part, they couldn't get past the part, some of them, that an American teacher can also be of a different race.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to give both of you kudos for being able to do that and honor the fact that you're a teacher and you're going to teach and then still have to deal with the balance. I want to talk about the fact of how your product got started because, you know, I do a lot of work with people and I teach a lot of workshops and things, and I know that there are different learning styles and there are different preferences in the brain in which people operate, and learning how to teach for everybody is how teachers become masterful. So LaTanya, I want to know about your products, you know, ELRSHOP. Talk to me about that.
Okay, so during this process of teaching English as a secondary language with kids from 4 and up, we began to look at our kids, their learning styles. What wasn't their teacher, because it was multiple teachers, what wasn't their teacher teaching enough where they can comprehend the lesson itself? So sometimes the teacher that they have wasn't teaching at all. They just said they were. And then we found out when we checked comprehension with that kid about a lesson that they should have understood to get to the lesson that they are with us, that it wasn't there. They couldn't understand it. So we had to teach that teacher stuff and our stuff on top of it. So when we took a look at that stuff, we said, well, okay, how can we make this better? Because I don't like how broken it is. And I don't like the fact that kids aren't learning because they're the future. And so we begin to develop our own things about how to teach kids how to read, check their comprehension, listening skills, and things like that. So that's what you see in the shop. It's based off our teaching experience, our mentoring experience with older people and things like that. So we put it together, and that's what we went to school for, is to design courses. And so in putting it together, we wanted to make sure people can understand it, whether you're from another country, whether you're from America. If you're struggling with reading or grammar or anything, that's what you're going to find in this shop. And there's more stuff to come to help with that. So we're big on education. We love it, and we love helping people educate. So when we looked at our kids, even though they're from this different culture, we wanted it to be something that everybody can learn from. So we spent time building these things in our shop.
Yeah, that's incredible. And and Elizabeth, I guess I want to talk about, because when I was reading your bio, there's coloring books, there's crossword puzzles, there's math, there's grammar. I mean, in the United States, especially in the areas where there's poverty, education and learning is a difficult thing. And so why did you choose so many different modalities, the coloring books and the puzzles, and why did you choose so many different modalities?
We wanted to basically give anyone who came in our shop a variety. We saw when we taught the kids that they love drawing. And I know when I grew up that I loved to draw. So it was just like almost the inner kid in us coming out with those coloring books. Like, this is what I would like to see, and I would have liked to have colored this character and stuff. So we came up with all these characters, and we worked it with an illustrator, and we just thought there would be something fun for a kid. And like for math, we remember when we were growing up how our parents taught us how to do math. And how my mom taught us how to spell, and she'd have like spelling bees at home and stuff to teach us. And we wanted to incorporate that, where if they take one of these grammar books or coloring books and things like that, that's for education, a parent can use these things in any kind of way that they want to. They can use them to quiz their kid, or they can use it to read a word off and have their kids spell it, or they can use it as practice sheets. So we wanted to do it where they could interact with their kid and also know that their child is learning, because there are a lot of parents that are nowadays being homeschoolers. And so we're like, you can take these things and do anything you want with it and add on to their learning from school, because that's something that I got whenever I was going to school as a child. My teachers, they would add on, they send you home with things. But as I got older, I didn't see none of that. So we want to continue to provide that opportunity.
And even with those coloring books, what's unique about our coloring books is that they're still educational. There's a cultural coloring book to get them kids introduced with different cultures. There's a drug coloring book that talks about substance and things like that, self-esteem. So we're still educating in the simplest thing.
Well, and what I love about what you're saying is that me as a parent, I can use these coloring books or puzzles or whatever to connect with my child, but also be in the process of helping them learn. So it has multi-levels. I think that's a great. How do people find you and the work that you're doing in the world?
So they can find us on Etsy.com /shop/ELR shop. And just go on Etsy, you'll find our shop and you'll see everything. It even have, I think somewhere scroll down the bottom, our different social media pages. And what's booming right now would have to be TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. So you can see different videos on TikTok and YouTube that shows you about me and Elizabeth's journey and the different products that we have.
And so do you have a website as well?
No, not a website just yet. That Etsy shop is pretty much it.
Okay, so it's Etsy/ELRSHOP.
So Etsy.com /shop/ELRSHOP.
Perfect. Okay. So I just love what you're doing, and I think it's so necessary, and it's inspiring that you have a cultural coloring book, because I think that that's a big conversation in our country right now, and kids need to know about different cultures. So it's beautiful. So I ask the same last question of every guest. So both of you get to answer. This show is called Women Awakening, Woman Awakening. What do you think is the most important thing about women awakening on this planet in this moment? And so let me start with you, Elizabeth.
I would say that walking in your purpose is the biggest awakening that I think that a lot of women are finding out today, is that they have more that God has created them to do beyond what they're doing right now. Like a lot of women, I found that they were on one journey and God turned them to another. And the same thing happened for us. And so we're able to connect with a lot of different women on that level. And so what I would say to a lot of women is that, you have to take a good look at where you are and where is it that God is pointing you towards. Because, we started out with teaching kids, and that led to us creating these products, and now we're in full-time ministry. And that's taken us nationwide to go help different churches in different places. And so you never know where you're going, but you're being prepared to do something. And whatever it is, it's going to be something big and something that has been instilled in you to put out here to everybody else.
Beautiful. And LaTanya, what do you feel?
I feel about the same way as Elizabeth. We all have a purpose in this world. God gives us a great purpose, and we got wonderful gifts. And I think that we should continue, as women, be great examples, be very impactful. Whatever you do, be very impactful and let God lead you in your purpose and walk in it. And we get so many young ladies and older women and asking, how do you walk out your daily life and things like that? And in their purpose, they're looking for purpose. So, keep praying, and whatever that gifting God birthed in you, use it and just make it 10 times bigger and be impactful for everybody in this world.
Oh, ladies, you are so inspiring. Thank you so much for being here. It's clear to me that you have a divine appointment on this planet to do amazing things. And I'm grateful that I get to introduce you to my audience. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
So ladies, I'm going to say the same thing I say to you every week. You're extraordinary. You are a unique imprint on this planet. You have passion, joy, freedom, light, love, and harmony embedded in you. And so you get to step up and step out, because the full expression of who you are, the authentic self that is you, is needed in this moment. So whatever it is that's calling you, say yes, because we're waiting for you. We need you. And I will see you in a week. Many blessings.